Shout out G Fuel. Check them out. My discount code is Aljo for 10% off right now. I'll try to put the link in the description. So, Jake, make sure you get that in the description for us, please. Yes, UFC 277. The battle of the rematches. Now, the main event, Amanda Nunes, the former queen, comes back and reclaims her title. Now, this does not always get done. There isn't many champions. I think this might even be the first one where a champion loses the belt and in the immediate rematch wins the belt, where there's no other fight in between, like a break. It's just an immediate rematch, I think. I could be completely wrong. Who was it? Cain Velasquez and maybe JDS. I think he was the champ, Cain, and then he lost to JDS and then came back and beat him. But I'm not sure if there was a fight break in between there where one of them fought somebody else. But history typically has shown when champs run it back right away, they don't win. They don't. But with this one, Amanda Nunes, she did. She came back, and I'm a little tired. So sorry if I'm like mumbling a little bit. Just let me know in the comments. Hey, you mumble jumbo. You could do gooder than that. I thought Amanda fought a brilliant fight. That right hand that she kept landing over and over and over, the check hook, even the right straight, circling backwards, or should I say pedaling backwards, backpedaling, and then stepping off on the dime, planting her feet, and from there just launching a right hand that crushes Pena and drops her. As Pena is coming forward with those left, right punches, she pushes her back to the cage. She has some success with that. But against high-level strikers, that style of fighting is very, very difficult to have a lot of success with on the feet against a high-level striker. You might hit them a couple times. It's a fist fight. We're throwing hands. Something's going to land. Something's going to stick. That's just the way a fist fight goes. If both people are throwing punches and over the course of 25 minutes, I expect you to get hit, even if they're a terrible striker. If it goes 25 minutes, I expect you to get hit, even if you're the better striker. So as she's punching forward with this style that she uses, that brawler style, Amanda, with the better, cleaner, accurate striking, plants one and sits her down. And that was pretty much the story of the fight. I was actually surprised that Nunes would keep taking her down, though, in that fourth and fifth round. I know she had some success in the third. But it was like, why even risk it? You're doing so well on the feet. Why even risk having Pena get an opportunity to finish the fight via submission? Now, there was a couple close call attempts that I was jumping up for this morning when I watched. I was like, oh, my God. Even though I knew the results because people spoiled it. Can't go on social media for nothing. Even though I knew what was going on, I'm like, how did she not finish this? Now, the one where she extended it and it was on the ground and she had it locked out, and then Amanda stepped her left leg across her face. Very, very impressive that she was able to defend that and at the same time maintain control to still stay on top, because that arm should have came home with Julie in that moment. Now, I felt like Julie got it, and I think there was one moment where she kind of let it go for a split second and then tried to readjust, and at that point, I felt like there was space that gave Amanda Nunes the opportunity to completely get out and escape. And from there, the fight pretty much went right back into the favor of Nunes, and she just kind of just continued where she was going. And that's just the name of the game. Sometimes the game goes like that, and nothing for Julie to hang her head about. Pena fought a tough fight, tough as nails. Not always the best thing that you want to be remembered by, but at the same time, in the fight game, you have to be tough. That is one of the attributes that you have to have, because sometimes the tough will get going, and you have to show the world and yourself who you are. And she did. She showed who she was. She dug down deep. She didn't get the win, but she stuck in there and tried to find a way every single second of the fight. Those elbows that Amanda landed on top, slashing right on the hairline, brutal cuts. And there were a couple of them. I want to say there were three, at least three of those lacerations on her face and her forehead. And those are tough, you know, because once you get cut, it does make it harder. You know, let me not say harder. I think it makes it more. I think it's easier for future fights for those same cuts to resurface. They split open. You see people with tough scar tissue. They get hit again, and it bleeds almost instantly. There's a lot of people like that. But you have to do the right job of addressing it once it happens, getting it sutured, making sure you take care of it, break up the scar tissue, cross friction, make sure it gets back to that elastic type of feel of a skin, like that, as normal as you could possibly get it. Get everything underneath the scar to break up so that when it gets hit, it'll be just a normal shot. It won't be something that's all rough and rugged. When you hit it, it just breaks apart again, So hopefully Julie gets those taken care of really, really well. And she does a good job of rehabbing it afterwards. And, because I think there will be a trilogy. I think maybe Julie fights one more and she's right back there. Or maybe they do the trilogy right away. But I think Nunes wants a break. She deserves it. Changing camps. Now, there was a lot for her, changing camps and everything, and then going in with all this pressure as the undisputed queen. Will this happen to her again? Will the changes she made be anything of note? And she did. The stance was different. She was fighting in southpaw for the majority of the time. That check right hook through Pena just for a loop, I think, for the entire fight. It was just kind of like, all right, what's going on right now? You're completely changing stances. And Julie couldn't really get inside. I was actually surprised how unsuccessful attempts of her trying to get inside on Amanda Nunes. And I know Amanda Nunes is a beast, so easier said than done. But I felt like the first fight, she was able to make it a little bit nastier and control the position a little bit more. But Amanda, credit to her, she did her homework. She revamped herself and came back and fought a brilliant fight and just made it really tough for Pena to have any type of success really in there. And I feel like the one shot that landed, I can't tell if that was from a punch or from the headbutt. When they clash heads, I think it was in the third round, maybe even the fourth. I don't know. But I know there was a clash of heads. And I was wondering, because I'm like looking through the fight, I'm like, at what point did Pena land something that hard or multiple times to swell up Amanda Nunes' eye like that? And I was trying to go back and find him. Like, I just couldn't see what strikes were accumulating enough damage to have done that. Or was it just simply the headbutt that caused that? I think the headbutt also caused Julie to split her head open, if I'm not mistaken. That was a tough fight, man. Both girls brought the best out of each other. Julie pushed Nunes to either have some newfound passion, kind of re-inspired her a bit, or just push her to elevate her game, So shout out to those ladies. Take a bow, because that was probably one of the best female fights in a very, very long time. Very competitive. I don't want to say like a lot of back and forth, but it was competitive. Like, Pena was in there. She didn't just roll over and take a beating. She took some licks, but she kept coming forward. And I think that's what it's all about, to make it competitive. It wasn't like, you could still have it one-sided, which it fairly was for the most part. But there was moments where it looked like Pena was getting the crowd on their feet, kind of like the Ortega and Volkanovski fight, where you have those two big moments where it looks like the submission is on and the fight's about to completely change tides in the blink of an eye, So, good fight. I thought it was a fun fight, and I thought both of them, again, brought the best out of each other, and I think that's the most important thing. So, both of you ladies, take a bow. You deserved it. Who's bad? Now,